Okay, so the whole Cassandra and her visions thing is one of the damning moments in the anti-Luther narrative. But I'm here as Luther's advocate because I genuinely believe the narrative is false. I don't think the narrative actually fits with what we see in the series up through part of season 6. So now let's examine the Cassandra vision and this whole situation. So what's the narrative tell us? This lady, meteor rock magic, she can see the future. She sees a vision, like an apocalyptic vision of Lex killing everybody on Earth and the blood raining down from the sky on him and him just smiling. So satisfied that he's killed the whole world and he's alone now. And then this vision she has of Lex is so horrible that it literally kills her. That's the narrative. And everybody just rolls with that. But just like the example with the Porsche accident, I believe this narrative is a lie.
Lying to you.
I don't think it fits the actual things we see in the episode. I don't think it fits what we know about the character. I think it ignores really important information that comes up in this episode. So let's get into it. I got 3 main points here. First one, the meaning of Cassandra's visions are absolutely not clear or definite. We've got no reason to think she's any better at interpreting them than we are. Obviously, she has some visions that are just a really quick snapshot, like, Pete, you don't have your keys. I got a snapshot of you leaving your keys in your car. That's like a 2-second thing in time, and she got that, and it's simple, and there's no interpretation necessary. It's just, oh, you left your keys in the car. Oh, you gotta walk home now. But then there's some that are a lot more confusing, a lot more cryptic, like what she sees with Lex and with Clark. And what it looks like to me is this, it's just like any dream. When you have a dream that's, weird and cryptic, there's lots of things that are going into it. There's lots of things that are influencing it. There's experiences that you're having and memories of things that actually happened, experiences that you've actually had, your thoughts and feelings about things. But then there's also things that are not actually real, and they're all kind of wrapped up together. And then they form this vision you have while you're sleeping. That's what you have when you're dreaming. And I think her visions are more like that, except they're even more complicated because they don't just involve her thoughts and feelings and experiences. They also, I think, are getting mixed up with other people's thoughts and feelings and experiences. So they're even more cryptic, they're even more confusing, and they're even more ambiguous. So for anyone to approach this and say, obviously this is what this means, that's stupid, okay? It's not obvious what it means. And we have evidence of her getting confused about how to interpret some of her. Even when she acts like she knows exactly what it means, we see that she gets it wrong. So the very first time she touches Clark is, I look like it was more like accidental. And it's when where they're showing us simultaneously Harry Volk this is when he falls into the pond the first time, when he's reaching for his cigarettes. And then we see while that's happening, Cassandra is having her own vision experience. And then she touches Clark in the middle of that. And then she has this vision of somebody close to him about to die. She doesn't even know who. She just says somebody close to him about to die. And then when Clark comes back to see her the next day, she's like, oh, well, after what happened yesterday, I thought I'd never see you again. And I think, oh, wait, so she thought maybe he was the one who was going to die. So see, she doesn't know how to interpret this. She doesn't even, it's definitely not clear what's going on all the time. It's not even, she's putting it on Clark because he's the one she touched, but there clearly was some kind of a connection between her and Harry Volk. So was it even about Clark at all? So I think, all of these things, her thoughts and feelings and experiences, their thoughts and feelings of experiences, even perhaps more than 2 people, more than her, more than, Clark. Maybe it was her, Clark, and Harry Volk. Who knows how many people's thoughts, feelings, and experiences are all getting mixed up in her head right now. But that's what they're presenting to us. They present to us that there is this kind of confusion. So I'm curious, if she meets a Luther, she knows the same reputation that all the Luthers have, right? She comes in with her preconceived feelings. She's kind of rude to Lex, frankly. She's making snide comments, he says he comes bearing gifts, and he brought her flowers twice. I thought that was kind of sweet. And she's like, yeah, so do the Greeks. Wow, okay, that was that was a jab. Okay, Lex is used to it. He just brushes it off because he's used to getting abused like this continuously from people who are always acting like he deserves to be treated with suspicion. He doesn't, but people do it all the time to him. He's used to it. So she does it to him too. You don't think that her thoughts and feelings about the Luthers are influencing the vision she has? So people who are looking and saying, oh, she sees this vision, this is what's going to happen, I think, yeah, or maybe this is how she feels about the Luthers, or at least that's part of what's going on here. Second point. So that's a first point. First point is that the visions are not clear. I think they're way more chaotic, and I think they present to us in the episode that they're way more chaotic and confusing, and there's lots of influences going into them than what we think, than what the Luther hating narrative tries to claim. Second point, something that I don't hear getting talked about, but was clearly not accidental in the episode. Okay, not an accidental directing choice. When Harry Volk has his near-death experience, the first time when he falls into the pond and gets electrocuted. I don't know, was his chair electric? Is that what was going on? Falls into the pond and there's electric shocks everywhere when he's reaching for his lighter, okay? That the first time when he tells Lana, be a doll, go get me a scarf, and she walks away, and then he starts reaching for he drops his cigarettes and reaches for him. So we see him reaching for his cigarettes and he starts coughing, and then we cut to Cassandra with Clark and she starts coughing. And they start cutting back and forth between Harry Volk and Cassandra, okay? Cassandra doesn't know what's going on with Harry Volk. She never says anything about him. She puts it all on Clark. Whatever experience she's having that the director is telling us is connected to Harry Volk, okay? That's the point I'm making here. The director, whoever directed this episode, clearly made a choice to tell us whatever Cassandra is experiencing right there is connected to what Harry Volk is experiencing over by the pond. They both start coughing at the same time. We start cutting back and forth. Cassandra just puts it all on Clark. But there's some kind of a connection between her and Harry Volk. It's not clear to me what it is. One thing that crossed my mind is, without the meteor rocks, this would have been this is a near-death experience, right? He almost died. If there wasn't meteor rocks, he maybe would have just drowned in the lake or in the pond there, right? Got eaten by catfish. And her power is reminiscent. What is the episode? There's some episode where there's a kid who, his meteor rock power that he got was foreseeing people's deaths. This episode with Cassandra reminds me a lot of that. Is there a chance she's got just maybe a closer connection, or she gets flashes most particularly about these there is a lot of death in this episode. She sees a lot of death coming, right? Okay, but the main point here is that she's connected to Harry Volk, and that she appears to be unaware of this. We're seeing it in third person omnipotent standpoint. We see that there's a connection between her and Harry Volk. But consider, Cassandra has 2 visions in this episode that involve, well, first of all, she has three different visions that involve death, and she's got 2 that involve massive death, okay? We've got Clark surrounded by just, an endless graveyard, and we have Lex surrounded by an endless pile of dry bones. Guess what? Harry Volk is a mass murderer. Any chance that's influencing the visions Cassandra is having? The director's telling us she's connected to Harry Volk. So that's my second point, is the connection there and how he's a mass murderer, and maybe that's why she's seeing so much death. The third point I want to make is that Cassandra dies in this episode. Regular people without meteor rock freak powers sometimes have premonitions of their own death. That's a thing, okay? Is there a chance that a meteor freak who has these kinds of visions has even more vivid experiences, more vivid premonitions of their own death? Her death is impending, okay? She sees this vision of Clark, or the first flash she has is she tells Clark someone close to him is about to die, okay? And by the way, at the end of the episode, Clark literally says she saw her own future. So the writers put that in the script. She saw her own future. That's how the episode ends. Not that she saw Lex's future, she saw her own future. Not that she saw Clark's future, she saw her own future. And then she has the vision so there's that little flash of someone close to you is going to die. And then she has the vision with Clark being surrounded by just death everywhere. Graves, lots of death. And then Lex's, the valley of dry bones around him. There's the blood and everything like that. There's just death everywhere. It's amazing to me that no one's even seriously considering the possibility that all of that, for both Clark and Lex, was actually primarily simply a premonition of her own death. So, again, the anti-Luther narrative, the popular narrative that doesn't take all of this information into consideration at all, tells us that she died because she saw Lex's future and it was so horrible that she or she had a heart attack or something and just died. I'm saying that's not what happened at all. I'm saying it's not that she died because she saw the vision of Lex that involved a lot of death. She saw a lot of death in all of those visions because she was dying. The sunflowers dying off and all of the bones and blood. What if that had nothing to do with Lex at all? What if that was there because of the weird connection with the mass murderer Harry Volk? And the fact that Cassandra was dying as she saw the vision. Like, that's happening in her vision because she is dying. So 1, the visions are not clear, they are chaotic and ambiguous, and there are lots of different things influencing her, and she is not capable of interpreting them correctly. We see that in the episode. 2, there's some connection between her and Harry Volk, the mass murderer, and it makes sense to think that that's influencing the visions as well. And 3, death is a theme in her dreams, in her visions, because she's having a premonition of her own death. Boom, defended.